Don't blink, it's your blink. Welcome to the commentary because you guys are doing well, because they're having a wonderful day on this gorgeous. Am I still uploading? Yes, we're still uploading. Nice. On this gorgeous 5th of September 2025, today we have the ultimate pleasure of talking about, drumroll please, the one, the only schedule. I was going to talk about a specific subject. No. We are falling into a schedule lately. I didn't mention this not too long ago in another video, but I thought it was important to bring back because you're part of a schedule, and you're part of it's such a complex reality that we're living right now. So last week I did a video called Schedule, right? Where I was like, you know what? I wasn't super down with making recaps. I was super down because, technically speaking, the biggest mode of content we did in the last 2 weeks is recap, right? Now, the biggest content that we're doing this week is the tower, right? And it's been that way for a while, but still. Now, we are going in with another recap, right? Even then, the most, if you will, original content I've done today is a video about the Lord of the Ring, right? And I didn't feel comfortable because I was like, is this the death of our creativity? Is it the death of what we call it's a very weird position to be in. It's a very weird position, because if it is a death of creativity, then it's negative, but it doesn't mean it is a death of creativity, you know? It doesn't mean anything at all. It's always going to be a perception, and perception are finicky, you know? And I was like, I denial, because I said, you know what? It's so tough. It's so tough. I didn't want to do this video because I'm gonna feel like a rat. It's gonna feel like I'm complaining, right? But I'm not. It's reality, you know. Then I was in denial. I said, oh well, you know, you have to be creative to make it recap, which is true, but it's not an excuse to not making content, right? However, we've been kind of begging my agency rep for more hours at work because I want to work more, right? I try to find a job. I think my CV is not good. I think my interviews are good. I think they take a look at me. They see this obese guy and they said, okay, well, you know, it's not looking good. But I've been asking for hours upon hours upon hours, and I'm not giving up. Don't worry, I'm not giving up. Don't worry about that. But it is complex. It is in the perfect position that I want to be. It's in no way, shape, or form where I want to go, right? But then with the content, and we're still making content, right? So last year I didn't have to work because we had an employment, but I was still in a position of being like, hey, you know what? We're still gonna work. I work so much, and this year, like I mentioned, possibly I work a lot less because I'm afraid of the nervous breakdown. I'm afraid of the burnout. I'm afraid of what could happen if we do too much, you know? And all in all, it's kind of like a bigger problem because what end up happening is we are in this very specific position where either we do everything or either we do nothing. And there's just no escape, you know? And professionally speaking, we want to work. So I can never get into it. So when I do a review, I can watch a show. Let's say I have a shift. I can download the videos from Netflix and watch a shift, right? So it's always a foot in and a foot out. My position right now is a foot in and a foot out, right? And it doesn't work like that. However, you see with the schedule of constantly doing the same thing, for example, doing the recap, for example, play the tower, you know, it's kind of boring. It's kind of boring. I got people that are texting me about, hey, you haven't been streaming in a while. I'm like, yeah, but we've been working more, you know? And it's a weird position to be in because is it as creative as I used to be? No. But at the same time, I think the schedule is kind of nice. I think it's my way of coping with the fact that we don't work as much as I want to. I think it's my way of coping with the fact that maybe in a fucked up way, I go out and I give my CV, right? And I get refused to work. It's like, you know what? I don't think it's a good fit for the company, right? I get refused to work. So maybe I feel self-conscious. I feel like I'm not good enough, man. I am not good enough, and that is a damn shame. You know, I'm not good enough. And why is that a big problem? Well, it is a big problem when you think about the whole thing. All in all, right? All in all, it's disastrous. It is disastrous because I think that it devolved into the fact that I don't make my own content, so I recap shows because maybe I feel like my own content is not good enough, right? Constant refusal gives me this fear of being refused, this fear of abandonment, right? And this is what we do. Right now we're watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and after that we'd be watching Good Place. And I felt this freedom. I'm not having to come up with videos or ideas for videos, but it's not the same. It is a complete different entity. It is a completely different beast. And although it's a positive and a negative, because of course there's nothing perfect, but there's nothing that is not perfect. That's the truth. There's nothing that is not perfect. There's nothing that is perfect. You could argue that it's good enough or not good enough, but there's nothing perfect, and there's nothing that is a zero, you know? It's always somewhere in the middle. So ask yourself, right? And it sucks because you don't want to doubt about that. I feel like last year being in denial was the best thing. I did way more videos than I should have. And ultimately speaking, I didn't allow the channel to grow, and the views suffered because of that, because you were uploading 40 to 60 videos a day. On both channels, of course, and you were not getting views, so your channel is possibly dead. My channel is possibly dead because of that. The algorithm says no, don't watch this. However, you know, it's a life choice. It's a path choice. You know, we made mistakes, and it's not about moving on. It's about fixing those mistakes. We made a mistake not looking for work before we did, and now we're paying the price. We made a mistake about not being insistent enough with the agent rep, and now we're paying the price. We made a mistake with not being social enough and asking people. I never ever asked a person, what do you want to watch? What do you want to talk about? In 4 years, right? Because I was afraid, am I still afraid that we're going to say, oh, Ink is running out of ID, right? And again, I cannot promise you quality. I can promise you quantity. I cannot promise genius, but I can promise creativity. So I'm afraid that people are going to say, hey, Ink, you're running out of ID, right? There's a price to pay. Like, there's people literally coming for me and saying, hey, what should I do? And they value my opinion. They value this, even if I'm not successful. And I'm like, bro, I'm not the person to ask. But at the same time, they did come to me, so I'm trying to be helpful. I'm trying to guide them the best way I can. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, well, you know, there's not much I can do. But it's a tough position to be in, and there's also the case that the content suffer from that. When I was working, I was thinking about making content, right? But I'm an impulsive person. What I'll do is, I want to make content, I'll do the same day. Versus, I had to wait until I was done work. Okay, so this is how we do it. I would come from work, go to sleep, wake up at like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and then go all the way to work by making content. So I was thinking about this idea, I was writing it down, I was finishing my shift, I was going to sleep, and I was thinking about it, you know? And then you wake up in the morning and it's a fresh idea versus this is what I formulated the idea, I just came in with this subject, and now I have to develop it, right? And last year, we had such a creativity. We had such a creativity because we were taking an idea and then we did A, B, and it was always like, okay, well, this gave the idea of this and this idea of this. So this and this are reliant on the first idea to be born, but at the same time, they're the specific entity, right? And because they're the specific entity, they make sense as a unique thing. You're possibly something that has to do with something else. Oh, 21%. So this one doesn't charge for some bizarre reason. Why aren't you recording? I don't know. Why aren't you recording? That's a show. Oh, I wish I knew you was working. So I don't know. but something isn't working. What's for show? I got this battery pack with multiple outputs, but only one can connect. Why so many outputs? Just like this video, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'ma keep trying, hopefully figuring. I got Figo apple. It is kinda good. We'll go for a monster, but I said I wouldn't. Those video that I was doing, the creative, the one, the children of others ID, the children of IDA, IDB, IDC, were only born in a scenario where, my gosh, it's gonna be complex, but they're only born in a scenario where it makes sense. Let me repeat myself. They're only born in a scenario that makes sense, right? I think last year, I think we were in the best position because we were faced with something called freedom. I didn't have this schedule. I didn't have this 8 hours things. I had freedom of thoughts, right? I was waking up in the morning. I wanted to make content. I was going to sleep and I wanted to make content. Now I didn't have to worry about job. I didn't have to worry about cash. I didn't have to worry about anything. Wouldn't even go out because I had to work, right? My main point of focus was that, and my main point of focus gave me freedom. You're in a cage, right? This is the physical cage. Your mental cage is non-existent. So you're creative and you're creative and you're creative and you're creative and you're creative, and there's nothing stopping you, right? Until it does. And when it does, it's kind of disastrous because like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. Oh my god, this is kind of catastrophic, right? And which way is it catastrophic? Well, because this freedom gives birth to crazy idea. Things that didn't make sense, things that shouldn't have been said, you know? But somehow I miss that. I miss this freedom of being able to think. And also last year I didn't care about success or not success, right? Now this year I'm like, okay, well guess what? I'm finding a job, I'm looking for a job. But I put so many time on this. I put so many effort. I put so much of my hopes and dreams into this. If this doesn't work, this is, you know, just the mentality of proving people wrong. Oh, you didn't believe in me? Fuck you, I'm gonna do it. But there's also this mentality of I truly believed in this and didn't work, you know. And I'm stubborn, so even though if it doesn't work, I'll keep on going. But where last year was freedom, this year is despair. And I don't think that you should make video out of the despair. It's just food for thought, you know? Anyway, I love you guys. Take it easy. Peace. Why am I smiling? Because we've been stuck at 20 wave for so freaking long. And now we're doing 120. So finally. Ugh.